The historic shift in Japan's defense policy is expected to be highlighted when the Diet convenes on Monday. Lawmakers will be discussing Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida's move last December to raise spending to about $318 billion in 5 years as part of the country's new defense and security strategy. Opposition parties are forming alliances to put the brakes on the hefty spending in a bid to reduce tension in the region. CNA's Michio Ishida tells us more.
War is a failure of diplomacy. The Constitutional Democratic Party of Japan calls for efforts to avoid conflict. This is the core position of the opposition party's diplomatic and security strategy, released at about the same time the Kishida cabinet approved and announced theirs. There are some similarities in their diplomatic stances. For instance, the CDP regards the U.S.-Japan alliance as the cornerstone of Japan's diplomacy and security. It also welcomed Prime Minister Fumio Kishida's move to hold a summit with U.S. President Joe Biden during the five-nation tour this month. But it's concerned Mr. Kishida may have gone overboard on his promises, specifically his decision to boost Japan's counterattack capabilities, a new strategy the Kishida cabinet endorses and is controversial due to the country's pacifist constitution.
必要性、合理性、専守防衛の枠内にあるかどうか、3条件を満たせば反撃能力の保有行使を認めたいと思う。
Koichiro Gemba, the author of the CDP's new security strategy, was Japan's foreign minister, and so was Katsuya Okada. They were leading members of the Democratic Party of Japan, which controlled the government from 2009 to 2012. After losing power, it split into several parties. But in 2020, they formed the Constitutional Democratic Party, hoping to return back to power one day. Prime Minister Fumio Kishida wants to pass the biggest national budget ever for the coming financial year. Now, much attention is on the bolster of defense budget. The largest opposition party is not against the larger defense spending, but not to the extent of doubling it in 5 years to reach 2% of Japan's GDP. Mr. Okada explains.
大きな歳出要因がいくつもある中で、全体としてどうバランスを取るかという議論が必要で、防衛費だけを別にして額を最初に決めてしまうというやり方は、私は非常におかしいというふうに思います。
While Mr. Kishida stepped up cooperation with 5 G7 nations to deal with an increasingly assertive China, the CDP thinks developing stable and friendly relations with China is crucial for improving the security environment. It wants Japan to play a role to bring the U.S. back to the Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership, or CPTPP, and be open to China's membership to explore common interests and practical cooperation. These are among proposals the CDP aims to put on the table next week. Michio Ishida, CNA, Tokyo.